back with some Counter-Strike, and Snatchy and Co. back on train after they have pretty much brutally lost something called Nuke. Now it is coming down to train. Mouse pick, and where Mouse should feel very, very comfortable, especially starting on the CT side. I don't have too many worries here, Mitch.
Neither do I. I mean, 9 times in a row they've won this map against some very dominant teams. They've taken down Optic, North, G2, Avantgarde twice, and Valiance. And VP are certainly, based on the previous map, their map pick, teams that are a team that's not really going to be able to live up to that kind of standard.
Nope.
They're being tapped away, adding into a 2v3. At least they'll get the bomb planted to start them off here in the pistol round.
And so Chris patiently waiting this one out, seeing nobody to his right-hand side. But there he goes. Mihu is eliminated. Another one nearby would be Arcolicious. Good night for him. And so Snacks back on the side. Does he expect Frozen? Under no circumstance. That was a properly easy retake. And so, ta-da, 1-0 it is from Mousesports. Very much looking forward if, well, they are advancing with ease now here if they're going to struggle.
That's a disappointing loss as well. And 3v2 bomb planted, and they got decent aggressive post plans. Not able to walk away with the round win, and it kind of sets the tone for how this entire series should go. I mean, Mao's obviously coming in as the favorite team. We saw the previous map. They literally just stomped VP out, gave them no chance. And now on their map pick, a map that we know they're comfortable on, I think we're probably going to see a more one-sided scoreline. For VP, win conditions are pretty much win out more opening duels because Mao's were dominating that early round CT side. And make sure that they're able to win out situations where they can just trade their way to victory. And so far, that's obviously not been the case as the Pistols started out pretty poorly.
They did start out pretty poorly, and now Chris J tapping the first one away. Few more coming to the A site any second soon. Mihu already behind Electric, but one tapped out of this world by Rob. So VP, massive struggle, massive problem, and well, massively down the drain so far. Surely we're just in the beginning of this, so nothing to really overhype yet. As though we're gonna see if they can create chaos in the future. Voxic heard the jump, and Voxic Zog accurate enough against 2. The third not granted. Snatchy slaps his face. And what did he tap him through?
I'm not sure. My director didn't catch it. Sleepy observer.
Pardon?
No, my observer. My observer. Rob's taken down by a headshot. He was low anyways, but it's still a clean shot for Snatchy. He's got 2 on the board as he makes his way up and out of here. Carrigan takes him, shooting him in the ass as he bounces away. And 2-0. Mousesports with a solid 3 rifles carried through to this round. Rops and Woxic will have to get reinvestment in onto their armor and utility, despite Woxic being dropped over a weapon. And this does leave them in a pretty low economic situation, so VP have the chance to pull this one back. This is a map that I expect Snatcher to do a lot more on the AWP, and I think we'll be seeing him early round getting some high impact.
And now let's see what the AKs can do in combination with the AWP onto Snatchy. Smokes on the A side have been thrown, and Mousesports very obviously with an A side focus. Frozen playing it together with Chris J in a very aggressive stance. Popdog not really covered by any player at this point in time. And Snacks is going to annex it. And in the meantime, Carrigan falls down.
Falls down, and he won't be getting back up either. With the opening duel going the way of Snatchy has predicted. He's always been a pretty pivotal player, whatever the team he's been on, over on Train.
True.
And I think over this series we're going to see why. With the aggression coming through Ivy and the bomb dropped in T-spawn, VP are evidently looking to take this towards A in the end. Molotov goes down, hits the player on his exit, and quickly smoked off. They've spotted one more, and as Chris J is forced out, he's taken down by Snatchy once more. 2 kills on the board for the VP sniper. And a hefty advantage now as Mousesports are spread pretty thin.
They are spread pretty thin, but it comes down to Robs if he's able to knock on the back door. Not even having a chance. And so Voxic is the only one really having any idea who's coming down for Popdog. Another player for main. That was Arcolicious who already passed through. And so Voxic is going to have to make a decision. Is he going to go for the bomb? Is he going to go for the plant? 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 Is Frozen most likely going for a save with $50 and hardly any chance. He'd probably do himself a favor, and he's exactly doing that. virtus.pro is going to get the plant down with 18 seconds left on the clock. Oculicious got to move to the side by now.
They'll just about have time. This is where, though, if Frozen jumped down, he could pretty much win the round, luckily planting on the side itself. That would have been incredible if Frozen just ran through connector and took him down. It's such a massive risk. But it works out. They get the bomb planted, time ticking away. Frozen just going to be saving. And this is something that we've come to expect from Snatchy, opening up on Train. It's a very op-centric map, and he definitely knows how to work it. And that could be the real deciding factor. Frozen unable to save the weapon. So nothing for Mousesports. And that's what we talked about towards the start of it. At the start of that round. If Mousesports lost, they would be pretty much shut out economically. You get a couple pistols dropped over by Chris J, perhaps, or by Carrigan. But outside of that, you got Frozen and Rob's double eco. So maybe even a force buy. And with the Deagle being bought up on Rob's there, I think you're definitely going to see some heftier buys coming through. The thing for VP, though, yeah, with Snatchy coming through on the op, I think that could be the big deciding factor between Nuke and Train, where, to me, VP look better on Train. Now, obviously, Mousesports look far superior. So I'm not saying... I still think Mousesports will take it.
Right.
But I give VP a better chance if Snatchy's on point.
I actually wouldn't say on this map that there's too much of a chance for virtus.pro. 1 HP left for Snatchy. Sad story. In the meantime, bomb dropped by Frozen. And so, an okay chance. But of course, the AKs are just the superior weapons. They created the chaos needed. And VP on the second round with Mouse considerably low on the economic end. AWP brought into the hands of Voxic. That's a weird buy situation, isn't it? Kerrigan really... I mean, he's taking the bullet for the team, and that's nice to see. Rob's on the AWP, double op setup in place. And as you said, a very op-centered map. The long rifles are playing a crucial role in this. And Ivy control not aggressively taken by Mouse. They leave Voxic at the entry of it, and he might just find the first.
Well, with Chris J going down, that's another for the T side of VP. Traded back and forth, but low HP on Woxic. AWP in hand, starting to aggress around the corner. Veggie showing himself a little bit too much, so down he goes. And Woxic able to bail through the smoke, the Veggie through, without being picked off by the T's teammate.
How did Snacks not eliminate him? Now he's going to do that, but I'm a little bit confused how that just happened. Kerrigan takes a very, very passive angle on Pop Doc. Oh, and there's the peek. And now he aggressively goes towards him. Snatchy whiffing the shots. And he's also not taking him down whilst moving around. Robs is the only one turning it around. But therefore, Snatchy reacts in time. VP with that lead.
3-2. Strong start on the tower side. And something from VP that we've... I think underestimated them a little bit coming into the map. But as time goes on, as Mousesports become that little bit stronger economically, they get themselves out of really decent full buys. I think VP are going to struggle a little bit more. But the problem for Mousesports over on the CT side is that they've allowed VP to build up quite a lot of cash. And in this round, it's unlikely that they get too much more done. There we go. Took a while. So if VP are able to save over the majority of their weapons, they build up better cash. They walk away with a pretty decent scoreline all in all. And with Rops going down here, it's looking like VP on 4-2 will have plenty of money in the bank.
Oh, if the last player eliminated with ease, I mean, there you go. VP with a good bunch of rounds, considering this is the T side of Train, especially considering how it looked on Nuke. But if I remember correctly, on Nuke in the beginning... Well, don't let me be lying. In the beginning 9 rounds, virtus.pro has achieved 4 out of their overall 6 in the matchup. So, if Mousesports now really does it with this sort of play, with this sort of weaponry in their hands, they might just send virtus.pro into a spiral of losses. Definitely where you not want to land. Surely they have accumulated a good bit of money. The Polish Bears lose their first, and in the meantime, everybody chimes in. Voxic and Robs put them down to 2, and Voxic is not to be stopped. Mihu, the last man alive, and it seems like the third is about to be on the board for the Mouse side of things.
Well, with Mouse finding that, again, they're going to fall back to the problem that we said before. VP have got a chance to get out of full buy. They've got AKs, they've got an AWP, and they've still got cash for the next round. But the problem for them, now that Mouse have got their ops out, they've got themselves their rifles, their AUGs. Like we said, it's a very long-range map in general, very op-centric. It feeds into AUGs being quite heavily favored as well for holding down those longer-range angles in the absence of an op. So with those in hand now, VP are definitely going to struggle a little bit more. Considering Snatchy's early impact, I mean, already sitting up on 12 kills, a mere 7 rounds in, Mousesports are definitely going to be playing this a little bit more passive, not offering any opportunities for Snatchy to pick them off early on.
And the only one really holding it up right now would be Robs. Does he realize what's happening? By now, he most definitely does. And it's not going to take the long-range duel against Mihu. Mousesports might have read this wrong. And this is the point in time where you need to reconsider, do we actually try to go on site or not? Because all the utilities thrown to deny them further access, they don't find frags, Kerrigan might die, exactly that is the case. And I think a retreat would make a lot of sense. By now, exactly what happens, if they can push through Ivy, that would be ideal. The only real problem I see is Snacks, who's gonna be waiting for them to come around. And Frozen, though, does he win the duel? Puts him on low HP, and yes, indeed, gets a little further. virtus.pro with only 1 casualty, getting the number 5th. Totally decent.
At this point, you can't deny it. VP on 5 rounds. There's no problems at all there. They had early starts over on the CT side of Nuke, and then things fell apart thereafter. But Mousesports now struggling a little bit earlier on. VP, again, with the fact that they've built up so much economy at this point, they're looking fantastic.
100%.
With 5 on the board. Like, realistically, they only need 1 or 2 more, and they're going to be very happy with their performance in the half. And the way things are going right now, if they win this, they'll achieve that straight away.
I couldn't have said any better, really. And in the meantime, let's see how that one will be going. Voxic holds a very tight angle towards the main section, finds a bit of damage onto Mihu, but needs to focus onto Ivy, as virtus.pro sends a good bunch of players through that position. Snatchy and Co exit anytime soon, and Chris is down, making this all very realistic for the Polish team. Again, nade drops hard, the no-scope denies any further access, at least for Oculicious, but it's man equalized, and if Kerrigan gets the right peek, he puts the bomb down on the ground, and so Mousesports can most likely work with that.
You would imagine so. Hearing the steps of Mihu, he's going to be eliminated with a quick wallbang headshot. It's all onto Snatchy, and watched from up close, Rops takes him down without contention. 4th on the board for Mousesports, and an all-important round, securing themselves better financial security for the future rounds. With weapons being dropped over, you've got a double-up setup again emerging for the counter-terrorists, and plenty of weapons to go around. There's still one on the floor for Rops, I think. And he's got the AUG out. So all in all, a decent round for Mousesports, but they have to be very careful.
Right.
Having invested into this one, their economy isn't amazing for the next round if they lose this. And VP still have that full buyout with 5 on the board. Again, we need to see consistency from Mousesports in closing out these CT side rounds.
Oh, I mean, that was not a perfect run boost. Either way, the kill has been found, and that's all what matters. That's all that's important. And Chris' aggressiveness together with Frozen only gets rewarded to some degree. As Oculicious waits it out, Robs might do the mistake with the AUG. Yes, he does. I mean, he didn't even do a mistake. He was just instantly snapping on his head. It seems like virtus.pro somewhat indecisive. They have not 100% went for a decision yet where they want to go. But realistically speaking, Mouse should not be able to obtain control over round number 10, and they might start an early retreat, but both Frozen and Voxic looking good HP-wise. Money buffer is there. They're hungry for it, aren't they?
Absolutely. Aggressing in towards this bomb site slowly but surely. 40 seconds left. VP want that win. The problem here, we've seen time be a little bit of a constraint for VP before. And as they push around, take a little bit of IV control. Veggie needs to spot close right. Oh, Frozen doesn't follow through on the kill. 13 HP left over for Veggie. So it's all onto Woxic. 1v5. Time now remains for VP to plant the bomb. No problem, as Woxic's nowhere nearby to stop it. What I was hoping would happen was that Frozen would Semper Fi past them and be able to take them down from behind, but it doesn't happen. So Woxic saving over the op at this point is probably the best decision. Like we said, their economy doesn't allow them to play crazily aggressive. But he's being hunted down right up behind some snacks. Okay, quick. It's Call of Duty quick scopes as it's down to a 1v3. Really, he's not going for the round, but the thing is, there's 3 players left alive to close in the angles, catch him off guard, and potentially take this op out of play, because it's worth it for VP to hunt, at least with one more player, to see if they can take this weapon out of the hands of their opponent, as he could cause some serious damage with it in the next round. Luckily, though, he carries it forward. That will leave us on a 6-4 scoreline. VP, though, having a phenomenal T side versus what they had previously on Nuke, where they only had, I think, 1 round on the Terra side went their way, and it was very early on as well.
And I mean, the funny part for me personally is right now, if you take a look at the scoreboard, Mousesports rely on Voxic, and purely on Voxic. He got 15 kills, and then a little later, Frozen is there with 5. This is odd, isn't it? Especially the ADR is obnoxiously good for the Turkish player.
Well, we talked about the ADR of Rops in the previous game. He was playing insanely, like what yeah. 140?
Something like that.
Coming into the second half, and now he's looking at 30. Bottom of the scoreboard, not doing too well. It's a weird one to see that performance drop off, and I think you can primarily put it down to this AWP of Snatchy giving them such a hefty advantage in early rounds. He's found another opening kill for his team. That puts him up to 5. 5 out of 11 rounds played out. He's found 5 of the opening duels in his favor and hasn't lost a single one.
It's not nice. And besides that, far away from ideal. Well, Mihu and Co. most likely going to prevail in another round. The follow-up is where Mouse has enough money for a real buy yet again. And as the majority of the crew of Chris J focuses over on the B side, Voxic at least is able to deny 1 player any further existence in this round. Overall, unrealistic scenario to be working. And if you're getting tapped away like that, that round is over. Mouse can only try some damage control, but that's pretty much it. Everybody has body armor. If they want to upgrade to full armor, which not necessarily has to be done, saving and no further duels are ideal. Robs, here's the player back on the B side, though. There we go.
At least that 1 kill to go down. Weapon saved over. But it's a very low consolation, really. Mousesports fallen behind massively, and I didn't expect this kind of performance from VP. I don't think many people did. I would make a little bit more sense if we swapped over. And we had virtus.pro picking this map. Obviously, that wouldn't make sense with the way Mousesports generally play on Train. But it's staggering to see the map picks go so differently. And if Mousesports, out of the 9 teams that they've played recently, end up actually dropping this map to VP,
it's weird.
That would be a very unusual situation.
Very, very weird, actually. Wouldn't expect that to happen anyway. Chris J is looking to do that with his team. Oh, and take a look at it. Akalicious with 2 kills now, as a sinister situation now turns up Sunny again. Voxic finds the frag needed. Akalicious down to 9. Snacks on 44. Far away from perfect, and as this not consummate play from VP turns sour and sour and sour, Could it be the safe? No, it's not, no circumstance going to be the safe coming in. But I mean, with the HP we're seeing, it would make a lot of sense. But yet again, we don't know what's happening in the voice chat. Mouse, though, taking it passive is the only thing that really matters. And I think once more on A main, they're trying their luck. But I got my doubts, really. I have my doubts that this is going to work for them.
It's a rough one. You're sitting down with the AWP on Alkalicious, hoping that he finds a kill, that someone gets a little bit interested. Carrigan edges forward. His gun barrel not yet spotted. He hears the op now. He knows Alkalicious is close.
Yep.
Goes out for the swing, not able to find a kill, but Woxic elsewhere takes Snacks down on a second kill. Alkalicious is gone. And another round for Mousesports at last. But it's still a position for VP that they're looking fine. If this ends 8-7 in Mousesports' favor, they've had a phenomenal terrorist side, and we just have to hope that the same level of performance can be said or seen when we swap over.
And yet again, was it just a temporary, I mean, let's say, phase from the side of Mousesports? I mean, back on a decent buy. I would be once more very surprised if they fall down yet again, as VP most definitely struggled overall. Especially interested how they're going to do it on the T side. It doesn't matter too much right now. virtus.pro setting themselves up more towards Ivy. You see right now more Veggie and Snatchy trying their luck yet again. Nobody, though, actively holding that one down. And so, virtus.pro, as patient as possible, taking a look at the clock, realizing we got a good bit of time left. And let's see who's going to take the entry, because once more, it could have been actually an op doing that, but I'm a little scared, Mitch, what Veggie is able to do.
That's a pretty powerful position for him, but as he jumps around, Woxic just deletes him. Putting it into a man advantage for Mousesports, an opening kill for the CT op, and there's still one left. Carrigan holding down on the bomb side itself. Has to be really conscious of the push coming in through Ivy. Not too worried about main because Chris J's there. Molotov goes down. That's going to delay so much time, but Carrigan falls. This could be a little bit dangerous. Swing out from Chris J. 1 kill on the board. He's looking for more, and he gets it. Not even a flash to support him as Alkalicious goes down. The trade's there, but so little time. And a man at disadvantage to work with. Mihu is low. Flash through. Snatchy's taken down. A little bit blind by that from Woxic. As Rops takes him out, it's 6-7. Mousesports closing in on it. But we're still a little bit away. I mean, 2 rounds left to go. VP have at least one more full buy. Presuming this is an eco, that is.
Yeah, especially, I mean, they should, it's pretty much perfect for an eco. So, there they go. A bit of utility and a nice little upgrade onto Miho. So, I'm just honestly waiting for Mouse to just, the best way to probably put it, just to use the meat grinder and get some fresh meat out of it. Rob's is going to be that worst 2 found, 3rd and 4th, spray control perfection, and an ace in a matter of seconds. Mousesports back on track with the tie. Considerably disappointing CT side so far, yet though we have to say Mouse is quite 50-50 when it comes down to train, which is rare. I think if you ask me, this is very rare to see teams being that balanced on this specific map.
No, it is definitely uncommon, we'll put it that way. I feel like just generally for Mousesports, it's odd to see a team perform so well on the terrorist side of both maps, Nuke and Train. But the Nuke one you can give over to VP playing just terribly in all consideration. But as we move on to this map, what's more impressive to me is the fact that VP have been able to reset and approach this in all seriousness. Oh, Snacks might catch Frozen off. I don't think he knows he's up close. Even with the flash going in, Frozen walks in with his back turned.
Snack's perfectly staying anti-flash there, putting his face back in the corner. And Chris caught whilst he's standing on a pedestal. The giant is too tall to not be spotted, and Mouse right now, only 3 players remaining to turn round number 15 in their favor. I don't believe in it, very honestly. And as the Voxic, I mean, you have to describe him as a hero. He's the Mousesports hero so far. And, oh, that aggression is a little too much. So, taking that one back, virtus.pro only have to fight against 2. And that should be a round over by now.
That's the half over as well with an 8-7 scoreline. We're seeing a lot from virtus.pro. A lot more than we expected, with the advantage coming through to the next half. I'm curious as to whether their counter-terror side is going to hold up to scratch, though, now that Mousesports can pressure them and isolate a couple of duels. But all things considered, this is looking pretty good for VP to take us to overpass. All they have to do is hold on tight to that lead on the counter-terror side, the advantageous one. But like you said, Mousesports tend to be a pretty even team on train. And if they can do it against some of the best in the world, they can probably do it against VP. So they're not out of the hot water just yet.
That water is hot, isn't it? And I mean, if it would be a Finnish team attending, a sauna reference would be ideal. At this point in time, I'm just looking very much forward how it's going to be with Mouse aggression, because if you remember, right, 10 rounds on a very, actually the only map that's more CT sided than Train was Nuke, and there they got already 10 rounds on the T side. So I'm very much looking forward how their aggression is going to work on that one. Just to let the viewers know, actually, and that's a little funny detail which I love so much about HLTV. If you take a look at the last 3 months, right, and if you consider how actually Mousesports played in the last 3 months in pistol rounds, I can tell you they are actually, and that's fairly true, one decent pistol round team. 55% of those initial rounds they win, with actually an 80% second round conversion. So realistic chances, and as we're waiting for the unpause, if you're wondering, later on tonight we're going to guide you through North versus No Chance. So if this is not your favorite matchup, we still got the Scandinavians fighting to advance in this qualifier.
Indeed, that's going to be a curious one. There's no chance of... I mean, they've been struggling for a little bit up against the higher tier teams, but I think North is probably one that gives them the best advantage out of the teams that we've seen. You know, if they're up against the likes of Big or Mousesports, I'd be a lot more worried for them, but North can be shaky at times, so they need to really be resilient. At least it's a best-of-3 series, though. Gives more opportunities for North to just maintain that kind of consistency over a 3-map period. They should be taking it, but I wouldn't say it's going to be a completely one-sided series. No Chance definitely have an opportunity to close it. I
actually would say No Chances for me in the bottom 3 teams of this qualifier.
Wow,
as harsh as it might sound, but in the meantime, we have a stop because of player disconnecting, and before damage is dealt, there we go. He's back in. And just whatever, we'll just continue playing.
Okay, let's play.
I would not be happy as Mousesports, but Snacks being a kind guy, calling it live, and so we are live. That's a roller coaster of emotions, Mitch. But the B-side is going to be...
It's probably the first time I've seen them not just reset the round, but I guess it can take a while, so they're saving us all for the sake of 5 seconds. As the push comes down towards the B-bomb site, plenty of utility being thrown over. You've got Alkalicious forced back out of upper, and complete access given towards this B-bomb site. The smoke's cut off any sight lines, so Walksik's able to get the plant. Where does he want to go for it? Ooh, it's going to be a nice open one. With connector smoked off, he's got the opportunity to do that. Spam's going through, don't land a whole lot. And now VP on the retaker, 5v5, but up close and personals. Chris J, 1-for-1 trades, though.
That looked a little painful. Frozen waits it out brilliantly, goes for more, but it gets denied. And there's a kid onto Veggie. That could work, but still, they first of all have to get to the bomb. That's going to be denied in the end, and further access not granted. Snacks, you're out. And so, back tied they are. As brilliant as it can get.
We're on 8-8. We're tied up. Mousesports on the T side. The question coming into this above them is kind of, are we going to see dominance from the get-go? I mean, when you're seeing a team that has one player with 21 kills on the board, the next being 12, and then it just gets worse and worse as we go down. I mean, Carrigan's only got 4 kills coming into this half, even after the pistol. It's where you can be forgiven a lot more. You will find the terrorist side more welcoming because you're going to be able to consistently rely on one player going for the openings and play around him. Ooh. Not so much on the CT side. Rop's getting spammed down by a Deagle doesn't help, but Mihu at least is going to be traded on and put into a 4 versus 4, but still 2 scouts in play for VP alongside the retrieved AK. They can do plenty of damage here.
I think this is one of the last things you want to see is dying to such a buy, and he dinged him if I saw it correctly. And let's spectate if virtus.pro actually immediately bounce back. Veggie got a major upgrade for himself, but Mouse game plan is adapting more to the A side. The brain behind the red mouse is, of course, Carrigan. And he's going to call it over on A with nobody actively holding the site. One connector smoke or one connector utility, and further access for virtus.pro is not going to happen. And as you see right there, they leave connector fairly open, interestingly enough, but no problem. Bomb's going to be planted. And virtus.pro got nothing to lose, to put it that way, Mitch. Maybe they want to keep the AK. I would understand that. Oculicious on the armor, yeah, fine. But they don't go for anything.
Given Mousesports that extra round on the board, an 8-9, but like with the scout and the AK saved over, they've got a somewhat of a decent chance, especially if Veggie carries forward the AK. He can drop over a Deagle to one of his teammates, and then they've got weapons that they can definitely work with. I mean, it was the Deagle that opened up the round for Veggie. The only kill that came through for them, the spam onto Robs, which retrieved that AK-47. And as they completely save passively towards Ivy, VP are guaranteed to carry those weapons forward. And we'll see a fairly close round, I think, all in all. One could say a contentious round.
Did you say contentious or contention, Mitch?
Well, the round could be in heavy contention.
Well, what is it now? You have fully... Listen, we had this word, right? And you cannot swap it and just make it from out of a noun to an adjective. That's not how it works. Stick to it.
It's the same word.
You messed it up. You have to redo it sometime else.
Nobody's going to understand this.
No, it's fine. It probably sounds less intelligent than I think it does. And as I hope for it, repeating this another time, we're going to see maybe repetition of a quite dull but effective B-side take.
Maybe not so dull, though, with Veggie sitting towards the back, but he's not able to do a whole lot past that one kill, so the bomb goes down. Chris J can get himself an upgrade to an AK if he wants to, but continuing to aggress in the money-making machine that is the MAC-10. Closing in the distance towards CT. I think he was just spotted out by Snacks, now posted up on the angle with the scout in hand. But he's not going to find anything as he's taken down by Robs in an alternate angle. It's all down to Mihu to try and grab a weapon and get out of there alive with a P250 and nothing dropped near him. It will be hard to do unless they decide to exit over towards CT, which they do. Mihu's got a chance, spamming away, down goes Carrigan. He swings out for more, but Chris J quickly dispatches him with the retrieved AK-47.
And there are the buys back on virtus.pro. Op, AUK, everything. And this is what I meant, right? Mousesports being so tied up, or more likely that being so balanced on CTT, and then also showing us a great aggressive display on Nuke is pretty much what I was somewhat hoping for. And, well, if it's going to happen, Mitch, different story, I would say. We're going to experience it any time soon, as Frozen is going to get out together with Kerrigan anytime soon. Kerrigan advanced that far. Nobody had him on the radar yet. And that kill is good. And how long is Mihu, though, going to survive? Mousesports is running them over as they go as fast as possible. So Frozen realizes about Connector, Heaven, and On-Site. 1 out of 3 taken out. And more to come by the Young Gun.
They know there's going to be one con. Smoke goes down to just eliminate that threat. Opening it into a 2v3, but the AWP holding long range is one of the real dangers to the terrorist side. Snatchy towards the back of Ivy, starting to aggress forward, and he's about to catch an angle, which will cut Woxic off from getting to the bomb site itself.
Just looking actually for Snacks to be taken out. In the meantime, I mean, Frozen would stand a chance, wouldn't he? If he goes up there, he got a quiet, wounded opponent. Snatchy taking a totally different approach. Oh, no. I mean, he takes the wide way around. He's not gonna spot anybody here. They don't know about somebody coming from the back. And look at the patience. Snacks now move downwards. Goes through Connector. Bomb being picked up. The timings are unreal here. This is unreal, Mitch. The timings are so outstanding. And in the meantime, Bomb's going to be hit to the ground. Nobody necessarily expects Snatchy. I think he has been spotted. No, doesn't seem to be the case. And now only Frozen to turn things in favor for Mousesports. He needs to be the clutch hero, putting his cape on to put them on the right track. Goes closer to Snatchy, takes the op down. And Alcolicious is that one pillar of defense the side of VP needs, but no, not with Frozen. Taking down 4, grabbing an upgrade, and putting Mousesports in the right position.
What a phenomenal round from Frozen. And I mean, playing it 1 versus 2 in the end, they spotted him out after that first kill, but still, it's not enough. He only had 2 angles he could peek from, but he comes out on top now, 11-8. VP struggled to get that round of the board, and ultimately timing was the name of the game. The fact that Snatchy was able to just push out and find himself 1 kill didn't really matter too much because Snacks had already gone down. As he came down from Heaven, he was looking towards the angles that the T's peeked from for about 50 seconds. And literally the 1 or 2 seconds that he went down the ladder, completely taken out, leaving it over into a 5v5, but VP are not in an even situation. Although numbers may seem to make it so. They've got a lot of pistols. Snacks has been spotted coming up the ladder straight away. And VP now have a little bit of information.
Right.
Hoping that Carrigan goes for a repeat. Snacks had the deagle trained on the angle, but Carrigan's the one getting the headshot.
Well, that's the way to put it. And right this moment, I am very much looking forward to what Veggie can do in case they're going to the B side, but his deagle is something you would not expect, but in the meantime, everything I'm saying is worthless anyway, because this is an A-side aggression by the book, and this A-side aggression by the book works out most definitely. With Chris getting closer and closer to the side, his teammates checking out anything that comes, and so no chance. Mihu's close range deagle is a nice object for competition, but yeah, not gonna believe anything more is to come, and therefore 12-8 is inevitable, Mitch.
It is indeed. Well, Alcolicious with a CZ, not even gonna hope for the win in the round. Realistically, he just wants to get down there and take a weapon out of their hands, hoping that they get a little bit aggressive in towards Pop Dog. Rops is edging forward, but I don't know if he's going to be quite brave enough to push right up to that ladder. As time ticks away, though, they are going to have to exit eventually. And for now, it looks like Pop Dog is where he's thinking about going. Right under the ladder, Pete goes out. Alcolicious thinks he's going to be up close right, but unfortunately not. As he's taken, it's 12-8. Mousesports carry forward quite a lot of weapons as well. They don't lose too many. They've got plenty of cash now built up inside of the bank, and their fiscal situation is looking good. Realistically, virtus.pro at this point, they've got 5 scopes. They've got the chances, but this is one of their last chances. It's the best buy they're going to see for a little while, and the next time that they see it, Mousesports will be very close to victory if they lose this one here.
I have a lot of questions, Mitch, but I'm going to ask them another time, because right now, the double off setup should deny Snatchy any vision. He knows just when to squeeze that trigger. He, by the way, on 177 average damage per round, and no idea how Aqualicious avoids his death for a little longer, but now Snatchy again trying to play this out as intelligent as possible. Most likely he's the one I'm very, very sure he's capable of always convincing. But in the meantime, Mousesports change up their setup. Mihu punished that, but Frozen yet again is there to counter it. 2 versus 3. I don't see it happening though, nevertheless.
Well, with Woxic left alive all by himself, it's certainly unlikely. He's got the AWP in hand, but as he tries to bait the shot of Mihu, he does it all too successfully. Shot straight into Woxic's chest, putting it 12-9. And VP starting that comeback. We said that was one of their last chances. Well, they're thankful to get it on the board. As the secondary up again comes out on Mihu, Snatchy's got one right in front of his feet. And although Mousesports get a buyout here, it's not going to happen if they lose this round.
Very true. Very, very true in what you're saying in that. But I mean, the struggle is not really there for them. So far, have showed us a convincing T side, but as I close my mouth, both Mihu and Veggie strike perfectionist way. And that might be Mousesports collapsing, at least for the moment. Round number 22 would be a bit unfortunate for the team of Chris J, but I mean, we're still having 1 minute 30 left on the clock. Aqualicious, though, a very aggressive stance. Could just peek wide anytime soon, but rather stays in a somewhat off angle. Instant punishment from Voxic, and this is opening up the B side so massively. Look how fast they are. If one proper smoke would be thrown, which they unfortunately don't have, it could be ideal. They say, whatever, we pull through. Or just bait. And as they bait, it's not too unobvious. Rob still punished it. Man equalized, Mitch.
With Veggie down, they might not know about Snacks. That Molotov will force him out of the open, though. Woxic takes him down. Snatchy keeps on fragging, AWP in hand. He was taken down by it the previous round, and Woxic goes down again to that op in a 1v2 this time, as it's 12-10. virtus.pro find themselves clocking up those rounds now on the CT side and putting Mousesports on the back foot.
And I'll be very honest with you. The most devastating part for me personally right here is Snatchy is on a KAST percentage of 86. The next player is on 73. That's a good bit of a difference. With Snatchy, by the way, having 6 opening duels so far and winning 6 out of 6. So, Veggie peeking a little wider, flashbang brilliant, no damage dealt. Nothing to talk about really here. And as they look for something like at least 1 or 2 frags from Robs to damage the CT economy, most likely won't happen. He still lurks in the shadows over on the B site. At 1 P to 50 in a dream, that's it.
I don't believe in the dream. They are hunting him down, at least a little bit of a chance given to him to find some impact and take some weapons down. He's managed to sneak by them on the train. Aqualicious catches him up close, though, and takes him down 12-11. I mean, Mousesports still have the chance to get the buyout here, but VP are looking dominant in these last couple of rounds, and without losing too many players in the previous, now they're in a situation where with a double op setup and 2 AUGs, they're still perfectly capable of getting a buyout in the next round should they lose this. That little bit of a buffer proves to be very important over on the counter-terrorist side in general. I'm looking towards Mouse. They've taken out that op on Woxic, but Chris J's gone for a Krieg, still giving him some pretty decent long-range opportunities.
And I'll be very honest with you here. This is the round where Mouse needs to strike, because otherwise they will be pretty much landing with economic drought, and this is the last thing you really want, is it? Playing and setting themselves up in front of the B side. Veggie feels tantalized to go up the ladder and do the difference. But as I'm speaking, the aggression goes over to the B side. The only man holding them up would be Ocalicious, and his positioning up there is so brilliant. Can he deny Kerrigan? Most definitely, and that is getting uncomfortable. This is getting a little gnarly, and this is getting a bit problematic, because even Frozen could be spotted by now, but perfect. This is Ocalicious down, and suddenly the side is a bit more open.
Open for that plant to go down, but the bomb's in the open as well, and as Frozen dies, that gives Snatchy the ability to move out there and post up on the bomb. As soon as he spots that, they're going to be in a world of hurt. He's managed to pick himself up just a flashbang, but that'll give the opportunity for a repeat here on Veggie. Fortunately, Veggie actually gets flashed by it, and going up on top of the ladder is taken down. Now, realistically, with the economy in play, the Snacks can go for it. Their economy won't be incredible for the next round, but
there you go.
Me too. It's hard to deny. Like, he has to go for that realistically. With it being such a close scoreline, and the CT side don't want to give a free round over, 1v2 is probably worth risking that. Because with the fact that they can still reinvest into this round, but Snacks just being on a slightly weaker weapon, it works out pretty well with the double op setup.
I mean, could you and I just talk about how freaking good Voxic is? Absolutely disgusting what this man does. 0 utility damage, funnier-wise, just a little gimmick, but 18 enemies flashed, 109 ADR, and 28 frags. Snatchy and Voxic really are the MVPs of this matchup, however it goes. But Mousesports, very obviously, with an advantage in this. And if they find this round, I think a story could be told here, Mitch.
If they don't, they're in a lot of trouble. Veggie's on 1 HP and a headshot onto Snacks, puts it into a 4v4. Molotov on the site. Veggie's going to be taken down by that. Molly to death. Chris J from the grave. Frozen onto 1. It's a 3v2. Rob's coming down to catch the rotations. Go. Okay. Good night, Snatchy. Eventually it comes through. Luckily, it was in the air, so no chance to spin around and find that frag. So it's all on Mihu.
The smoke just coming around. That bomb is about to be planted. The pressure is high. Mihu just coming around, and he's going to be no-scoped out of this world from Voxic. That is a statement. Good night, Mihu, and no further trespassing for you, virtus.pro. Pack your suitcase. You're out of train. Quite a bit of contention, isn't it?
It's a really rough one for VP, because I feel like they've done so well early on. The fact that they managed to find a strong start on both sides, decent rounds on their T side as well, more than decent, very good rounds built up on their T side. I think they finished at 8-7. They actually won out their half. But Mousesports, again, it comes back to how strong of a team they are versus VP in general, but also on this map, 9 out of 9 times. They've won it, looking for 10 out of 10. This buy from VP sees pretty much nothing. They're holding out for the next round. That's where they want to finish it. They've at least found 1 kill. With Rops going down, that's an AK retrieved for Veggie, but on 30 HP and nobody with armor, they can't afford to risk that AK-47. Instead, they want to save it over to the next round, see if they can make things work there. They get a free AK, it makes it much easier to invest into dropping over maybe an op to one of your teammates, depending on who's going to be taking it. But realistically, 14-11, a situation right now for Mousesports that should be 15-11 and should be very difficult to throw away against virtus.pro. But I really do feel for VP, because despite the fact that the first map was really one-sided and VP just played really poorly, I feel like they made a little bit of a risk. They put Mousesports into a box, saying, you know, they're not that good at there. They don't play nuke that much. Maybe we'll catch them off with it. It didn't work out. And now as we move over to Train, where Mousesports are just dominant, they've actually had a far better performance. And if they hadn't just went with a map that maybe looked a little bit better for them than Nuke, where they felt a little bit more comfortable, things could have looked so much different. This could be a 1-1 going into a third map.
Right. So, I don't believe that this is going that well. As at this point in time, we are seeing that Voxic and Co just feel too dominant, especially Voxic, obviously. The buy from virtus.pro is not sloppy, don't get me wrong. We see the Ox, the AK, and the AWP in their hands, but As we see right here, Reggie tries to bait a little, and that bait works. From this point on, Mitch, it seems like it's only Oculicious to hold them down. I mean, support is there, Snacks arrives, but it seems Mouse have set themselves up for the take over on the B side.
There's still 2 players there for VP. I think this is a situation that looks better for Virtus than it has for quite a bit. The passive hold towards Heaven. The only danger really is that Snacks can be peaked. If they manage to make it out and around, and indeed they do, he's going to be taken down from 2 different angles. Oculicious now tries to hold. That bomb goes for a little bit of a flight. As Frozen's down, it's a 2 versus 4. And Chris J and Woxic have to try to pull it back. The AWP on Woxic's holding long range, hoping to catch someone coming out of connector. He's spotted, though, as the jump went in, and CT pulled off the angle at just the wrong time. So it's all really on Chris J on the sneaky flank, but Mihu's watching it.
Mihu's ready, but doesn't do too much. And with this amount of time left, I think that could be it, and that should be it. As Woxic jiggle peeks as much as possible. He's going to be pinned down and very possibly denied any further access. Virtus.pro on number 12. And yet again, they have quite alright money. I mean, Frozen can buy, Carrigan can buy, Rob's getting a drop. And now VP, can they withstand the pressure for the rest of this matchup? Because then they only advance to the third map. It's not like they pick up a win or something.
So one of the things we said for VP coming onto this map was a reason they'd probably look better would be Snatchy on the AWP. He gets to work a lot easier on Train than on Nuke, and he's now 6 for 0 on opening duels and obviously sitting 27 to 15 in kills. A much different performance to what we saw from him over on Nuke. And there he is again, 7 opening duels going his way. Mihu's the other player that's been doing really well, and although he gets traded, he puts Chris J down to 1 HP. And I think at this point, you know, VP, they're putting it all on the table. They're doing the best they possibly can. Snatchy comes in with a 2nd kill onto the board, as well as the fact that Chris J is low. This round's looking really good for VP to take it over the line and put Mousesports down to very little economy.
Yeah, and I mean, most definitely, Mouse doesn't want to struggle, but they definitely will. 101 HP. Robs pretty much needs to do it single-handedly, and with Chris putting himself up there, what? Absolutely devastating! And things are turning around in a matter of seconds. One good plant from Chris, and things might look as brilliant as expected, because then Oculicious is going to have a hard time. Robs might be ready if he doesn't overextend and overpeak. Oh, and he goes towards connector, doesn't he? He actively searches the duel, and actively he's gonna win it. 1 tapping Oculicious out of the server, 2-0 from Mouse here, Mitch.